tonight, Ghana Goldbod gives foreigners 16 days ultimatum to exit the local gold trading market. As they serve notice, dealing in gold without a license from the regulator is a punishable offense.
Now, no foreigner will be given a license to go and buy gold. If you're a foreigner and you want gold, apply to the Gold Board. The Gold Board has an arrangement with you. You need to Ghanaian citizens who are licensed. They buy the gold for the Gold Board, will ship the gold to you. It's as simple as that.
We have details as the board nullifies the licenses of all gold dealership firms in Ghana.
If they are under reasonable suspicion that you are dealing in gold illegally, they can search. And if they have cause to believe that you are engaged in illegal gold trading or smuggling, they can seize your gold, they can impound, they can confiscate.
We have details here on Top Story, as always, brought to you by Telecel, connecting energies and holy insecticide spray and coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. Well, tonight, the message is clear. Get licensed or get out. That's the order from the Ghana Gold Board as it gives foreigners trading in gold less than 3 weeks to exit the local market or get arrested. Because starting dealing in gold without Gold Board issued license is a criminal offense. This follows the recent passage of the Ghana Gold Board Act 1140 by Parliament on March 29 and its swift assent by the President on April 2. In a statement issued earlier today, the board served notice that all licenses previously issued to small-scale gold dealers by the Precious Minerals Marketing Company, PMMC, officially ceases to be valid. My colleague Faustina Safo joins me with details of that particular statement. Faustina, the board has also directed that all local gold purchases must now be done in Ghana cedis based on the Bank of Ghana's reference rate. What else does the statement say?
Well, a lot is in that statement, Brace, and the first paragraph of that statement highlights the importance of the passage of the Act. And it says, quote, all licenses issued by the Precious Minerals Marketing Company or the minister responsible for mines to a person other than a large-scale mining company to deal in gold have ceased to be valid. Now, let me take you to the paragraph where it says, however, to ensure smooth transition and respect obligations between licensed gold buyers and their off-takers, the Ghana Gold Board has resolved to allow for gold purchases and exports by persons holding appropriate licenses issued to them by the PMMC and the minister responsible for mines until the 30th of April this year.
Means that after 30th, you cannot export gold if you have not been licensed by the Gold Board.
Indeed. Now, the fifth paragraph says that indeed, for the time being, all licensed persons or entities buying gold from the local market must do so in Ghana cedis at the price calculated by the Bank of Ghana. And they put a reference date there where you can go on the Bank of Ghana page to check the recent pricing and then work with that. Now, point 8 is quite instructive, Brace. All foreigners are here notified to exit the local gold trading market not later than the 30th of April 2025. A foreigner may, however, apply to the Gold Board to buy or off-take gold directly from the Gold Board. And that is what Sami Jainfi highlighted in the sound you just listened to earlier. Now, they end by saying it is worthy of note that it shall constitute a punishable offense for a person to purchase or deal in gold in the country without a license issued by the Ghana Gold Board. And that is taking effect from the 1st of May, which is less than 3 weeks from now.
Quite instructive there by that particular statement. If you are into gold dealership, of course, you hear this and you know exactly what is expected of you. By the 30th of April, if you don't get license from the Gold Board, it means that you cannot deal in gold in the country. If you're a foreigner, however, there is no option for you to buy. You can rather buy from the Gold Board, but not from the open market. Now, by this, from the 30th of April, only the Gold Board or licensed buyers, aggregators, or service providers under its authority, that's the authority of Gold Board, can legally purchase or deal in gold in Ghana. Now, speaking on PM Express some weeks ago, before Ghana Gold Board Act was signed, or was signed, the now acting managing director of the board, Sammy Jainfu, hinted that revocation of licenses held by, the miners, held by foreigners is their key strategy to deal with gold smuggling.
Maybe I would say 3 or 4 solutions to smuggling. Setting up the gold board is one, because once we have set up the gold board, the main smugglers, they know themselves. They are Ghanaians, but they are majority of them are foreigners. Now, no foreigner will be given a license to go and buy gold. So hitherto, foreigners have a license from PMMC and the ministry. They are buying the gold to smuggle, but when you cut them, they say, hey, we have a license. Now, no Indian, no Chinese, no foreigner will be given a license by the gold board. We are sanitizing.
So all existing licenses will be revoked.
If you're a foreigner and you want gold, you apply to the gold board. The gold board has an arrangement with you. You bring money. We give the money to Ghanaian citizens who are licensed. They buy the gold board will ship the gold to you. It's as simple as that. We will not give money to a foreigner to go and buy gold for us. Ghanaians can buy for us. That's number one. So when you have this structure system and you take out all these people, it helps. Number two, because you have gold board, you are able to know those who are licensed and go after those who are not licensed, who are dealing in the trade. Then number three, the price that you are giving the miners and the traders must be fair and competitive. If it is unfair, chances are that they would want.
You made the point. You said you set the price
with them. So we are setting the price with them to make sure that there's a win-win, competitive, fair price. You get my point? So that is another thing. Then the next one is enforcement.
So that's the acting managing director of the Gold Board, Sammy Jainfu. Now he explained further that under the proposed Gold Board framework, a task force will be set up to ensure compliance to the law.
We are not enforcing the law on gold smuggling. And we don't know the agency that is dedicated to the fight against gold smuggling. We are not. We've left it to the normal security agencies. We are not. But now you're going to see in this special powers given the gold board. Such as the right to appoint board inspectors who have the same powers as police officers, who have powers to come to your office if they are under reasonable suspicion that you are dealing in gold illegally. They can search, they can ask for documents, and if they have cause to believe that you are engaged in illegal gold trading or smuggling, they can seize your gold, they can impound, they can confiscate, okay? They can go to court for search warrants. They
by
can
themselves.
Go for they by themselves.
So the Attorney General is ceding part of his powers to that special inspector.
Exactly. Then with the Gold Board can maintain a task force in collaboration with other security agencies. And we are going to do that with national security. The Ministry of Interior, the Ministry of Defense are all going to be involved. This is going to be special. And we know the rules. We know those involved in the smuggling and all that. We know. And you trust me, you will see what will happen. Let the bill be passed and let the president assent it. You can't totally eliminate them, but you will see for the first time gold smugglers being arrested, their gold being seized, and they being taken to court, prosecuted, and some being convicted.
So that was Sammy Jainfu, the lawyer. Sammy Jainfu is the acting managing director of the Gold Board. Let's broaden the conversation here on Top Story and bring in media relations officer of the Ghana Gold Board, Prince Kwame Minka, who has joined me on the line. I also have the National Communications Officer for the Small Scale Miners Association, Abdul Razak. We'll be joined by a civil society activist who has vast experience in the natural resources space. But Kwame Minka, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. Now, I read your statement. it says, and I want to quote exactly what is written in the statement, that the fact that all licenses issued by the precious minerals marketing company and or the minister responsible of mines to a person other than a large scale mining company to deal in gold have ceased to be valid. Continue the process if they are following the due process as demanded by law.
The Goldbod Act, which is Act 1140 of 2025, that was recently passed by Parliament and then subsequently assented to by the President of the Republic of Ghana. So per this development, we are moving into a new chapter where all licenses that were issued by precious minerals in company or issued by the minister responsible for mines to persons other than large-scale miners, large-scale mining companies to deal with gold have all ceased to be valid. So it's got to do with the promulgation and then furtherance assent to the act by the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama.
But what would be the difference between those whom you will be licensing this time around under the Goldbod and those who were licensed by the PMMC?
So the difference here is what you indicated in point 8, where you mentioned that, look, all foreigners, where we mentioned in our statement that all foreigners are hereby notified to exit the local gold trading market not later than 30th April 2025. Now, this is expected to, as we've indicated in the form of the Act, to ensure that there's formalization within the sector, and then capacity is given to the Ghanaian miner or to Ghana, so that we'll be able to, by extensively, show up our local currency, which is the Ghana cedi.
So I get what you want to do with the foreigners, but in terms of the Ghanaians who also have licenses to deal in gold, by this statement, it means that their licenses also ceases to be valid, not so?
Yes, their license ceases to be valid. And so you're going to deal with Goldbod, which per the new law, which per the law, becomes the sole license dealer or the sole buyer, assayer of gold.
But that's why I wanted to find out. I mean, these are people who have been licensed by the company you were just before this act was passed by Parliament, PMMC.
Yes.
Why ask them to stop if they are doing what the law asked them to do when they were operating under the PMMC? Why not allow them to continue?
So they are by this going to engage Goldbod. They are by this going to engage Goldbod, and they are still going to be doing business as usual. But just at this time round, Goldbod becomes that sole entity which is mandated by law to deal with the trading of gold.
Wasn't PMMC the sole entity that was dealing in gold, or that could license you to buy gold?
PMMC, if you look at the difference between PMMC and then Goldbod becomes the sole buyer, trader, exporter, assayer of gold. But with PMMC, those functions were limited.
So my question is about the dealers.
Because the functions were limited, the gold trading business in Ghana was not formalized.
Okay.
And so you have foreigners buying gold. So with Goldbod now, the system will become formalized, and then we can have Goldbod being at the center of it, controlling everything, and that foreigners will now be buying gold from Goldbod.
What problems were the involvement of the foreigners causing Ghana?
Okay, so the problems that the involvement of foreigners were causing was that it was not ignoring to our benefit. Ghana needs reserves, gold reserves, that will, by extension, help in ensuring that we have enough dollars to be able to show up our city. And so with Goldbod being at the center of it all, we'll be able to cater for these things.
So that's why you want to get the foreigners out and allow Ghanaians to play in this.
And also bring an end to smuggling.
But how will this end smuggling? I'm interested. How will this stop smuggling, really?
Because you're going to be dealing with Goldbod now as a sole entity. Without Goldbod, you can't trade in gold. And the foreigners, as per what pertains to the previous situation, were exploiting the system and they were smuggling, the gold. But for now, with Goldbod being at the center of the mix, it will be easy to trace. It will be able to track. It will be easy to track, those that we are buying the gold from and then exporting on their behalf.
Well, Goldbod, by law, is the only organization mandated to be buying cocoa in Ghana. We all know that, right? But still, people smuggle cocoa out of this country. What's the assurance that just by having Goldbod, indeed, smuggling will end?
And that's why my chief executive officer, Tammy Yemfi, said by reinforcing that point about ensuring that all that we have promised to do would happen. That is enforcement. He was reinforcing the point about enforcement. So when the enforcement bit is tightened, as he has indicated, clearly we'll be able to deal with a smuggling bit.
Well, I want to understand. I mean, yes, you want to make sure that enforcement is strict, but Goldbod does all that, yet people do smuggle. So what is the game plan?
So the game plan here, in terms of dealing with smuggling, as I've indicated, is that Goldbod will be the center of attraction here. Goldbod will be the only company that you would tend to deal with in terms of buying, assaying gold, and by extension, exporting of gold. So, the end game again has to do with the enhancement of our city, and by extension, a greater transformation of our economy.
So all foreigners are hereby notified to exit the local gold trading market not later than 30th April 2025. So from today till 30th, they can buy gold. What if by 30th they have not been able to export all their gold? What do they do?
Well, we enforce the law. And you realize that ever since the whole idea of Goldbod came into the national conversation, you've not had anyone within civil society raising issues. Why? Because there's been extensive stakeholder engagement. And so we are all aligned and we are prepared to ensure that our economy grows.
All right. So if I'm a foreigner and by 30th of April I have gold and I'm not able to sell, what do I do? Do I sell it to you? Or what
yes, you
what
sell
happens?
it to Goldbod. And then Goldbod will, by extension, ensure that the benefits that you used to derive from in terms of selling the gold, you get it. And also, our nation, Ghana, gets the benefits from the sale of the gold.
Okay. Stay with me. Let me bring in Abdul Hassan Razaki. He's Communications Director of the Association of Small Scale Miners. Grateful to you, sir, for joining. Now, the understanding we have is that Goldbod is going to set the prices of gold in partnership with you. We understand that you've been part of the process ever since till today. What do you think will be the impact of this directive on your businesses as small scale miners?
Thank you for having me, and good evening to your good listeners. I think, like you rightly said, from day one, Goldbod, led by Honorable Sami Jemfi, has been engaging us as an association, and we've been collaborating, making sure that this Goldbod become a success to the nation. And with all the pricing and all the technicalities involved, we were represented. I think where we've gotten to is the pricing, just to see how best we can let it be a win-win situation, whereby those who are doing the buying those who are doing the selling, and then Goldbod itself will benefit, and then the nation itself will get something out of it. So we, as an association, from day one, we've been collaborating with Goldbod through the initial stages. It got to all the stakeholder consultation and all, even disseminating it to the regional level and those things. We've been moving, working hand in hand with Goldbod until today. That they came out with this statement about revocation of licenses. I think that one too, you look at the statement very well. I think they've given some timelines so that people will not be frustrated. I think they will work within by 25th. By next month, I think everything will get rolling. Where we saw is the first point whereby the mention of artisanal small-scale mining, they go small-scale mining is fine. And then there was some small exemption of the large-scale mining or miners. That is where we will need to meet. But even tomorrow, we are meeting the chief executive to have an extensive discussion about this same Goldbod. So Goldbod is meeting us, and then we have a very cordial. And we are to support, as an association, we are to support Goldbod because many times, so many people are complaining that we don't pay taxes, we don't do what and what. But if Goldbod is coming and then they've even taken the withholding tax, everything out, we as an association will support them so that smuggling and those things will be a thing of the past. And they will make sure that any person who smuggles the gold will hold you responsible so that Ghana will benefit and then everything will pass through the Goldbod.
You said they've taken the withholding taxes out. What does that mean?
You see, if you read the budget, the minister on reading the budget brought out the withholding tax was something we, the association, the small scale mining industry were paying through the taxes to government, through the GRE, because it was 3%. We had discussion with them, and there was too much smuggling in the system. So we brought ideas. We brought the other francophone countries who were doing the same thing, whereby they were running their taxes on 1% and those things. So it was reduced to 1.5. So by introducing the Goldbod activities and how it will be going, I think they revoked that one to make sure that we'll formalize the system and the right taxes will be paid and make sure that Goldbod benefit from whatever transaction they are doing. So that is how the whole thing is.
So you are excited about the development?
So far as from day one, they did not exempt us, they did not take decision on their own, and they brought us in, and we know the in and out of it. Why? We are okay with it. Okay.
We pick signals that these foreign gold dealers sometimes resource you, the small-scale miners. How will you be creating?
All these things have been discussed through the Goldbod. The resourcefulness, because those foreigners don't give us those resources. They also come out with conditions, and then they come out with discounts and those things. So we put it across the Goldbod to make sure that whatever they will do, they should make sure that they also push us through that aspect. That is why when you look at the Goldbod concept, apart from buying the gold, they've agreed to resource the small-scale mining sector. They've agreed to do geological investigation. They've agreed to do so many things to make sure that the industry will normalize and be resourceful so that the nation as a whole will benefit, so that it will not attract these foreigners to even come in, because we have been collaborated with the Goldbod, and then we have a cordial relation whereby whatever Goldbod is providing, if they are providing, what is the sense of even going for foreigners' money? They can pass it through the Goldbod, so that we will take the CDs and then move on.
Okay, so the assurance is that there won't be, so it will be minimal as a result of the Goldbod, right?
Exactly, and we are all going to be watchdogs and making sure that anybody, because if the thing is coming to benefit all of us, why do we sit down as a people, as small scale miners, for our colleagues, smugglers like this illegal? We know them, they also know us. So the smuggling will help Goldbod to make sure that those smugglers will not get the chance to smuggle those goods.
Abdul Razak, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. Abdul Al-Hassan Razak is Communications Director of the Association of Small Scale Miners. Let me bring in Samuel Bakwe. He's Executive Director, Center for Extractives and Development, Africa. I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining. Now, how best can the Gold Board, go about implementing this particular law of theirs to ensure that there's win-win for Ghana and its citizens?
Thank you. I think as the gentleman who spoke mentioned, we understand that the underlying reason for the reason why Goldbod has come to play is to deal with the smuggling. The people who used to export the gold, they were by law required to bring in the forex. Unfortunately, they were not bringing in the forex. And because they were not bringing in the forex, the government saw the need to bring in the Goldbod and use the small-scale mining sector primarily to manage the forex of the country. But one thing I would say is that I think the Goldbod, as he mentioned, has been, in terms of multi-stakeholder consultation, they've consulted widely. But this is what I would say. It comes with a lot of responsibilities. First is the pricing. How much do you buy the gold? At what discount to the market price? We always have suggested to the Goldbod, and I think they may have adopted that, to adopt a market-led approach, whereby you only have a discount to the market price and not to set your price, because we've seen example in other countries, and we continue to advise the Goldbod. Hopefully they will continue to listen and ensure that they get a fair and the best policy to be implemented in this. Number two is the asset financing. As you just mentioned, some of these buyers, including the foreigners, were financing some of these small-scale miners. And the Goldbod has indicated in their law, and they have indicated that they want to also start asset financing. But the first thing they are probably going to start is the cash financing, whereby they finance certain aggregators, and the aggregators then go and finance the buying. So that's more on the cash financing in terms of buying the gold. But they may also want to support the asset financing by saying, do I buy the necessary machines, which is the pumping machines, potentially the excavators, the crushers, and all that? We have some models that hopefully we will work with the Goldbod and then they can accept. In other countries, one of the things they have done to reduce irresponsible mining, particularly for the hard rock areas, is to build what we call a centralized processing plant, which covers up about 20-kilometer radius. So, for instance, if you go to Western region, you could have built that in Takwa, and you built it closer to the mines, and all those mines will haul their rocks and come and crash it there. What does that give you? The Goldbod would have owned that, and they can do that on a PPP arrangement, public-private partnership, or even a boot arrangement, in terms of build, own, operate, and transfer as well. There are different models that can work that investors may be willing to come into invest. In the processing plant, it means when I come there and process my ore, I am likely to get a higher recovery, probably even 80 to 90% compared to the recovery we are getting now, which may be between 40 to 50%. So that when you are giving the small-scale miners a lot of gold or a lot of value, and at the same time, you set up your buying centers right there so that they can buy immediately the gold is produced. That is one option. But when you go to the colluvia or the alluvial areas, they use a lot of excavators. So if you are giving them excavators to go and produce, because the biggest thing that the input that they need is excavators, is the fuel that they buy. If you are giving them excavators, I think the Goldbod were thinking about, and I think they should adopt a better pre-financing policy and implementation strategy. There are either you have a lease to own or you own the machine and control the machine.
I'm grateful.
So they come to you and say, I want you to come and help me to mine my concession. And therefore you send your own operator with the excavator there, your own fuel, and you cost that. And whenever the person gets the gold, they can pay you by selling gold to you and you deduct your amount and then he gets a share. That is one thing. Or you can adopt the lease to own, whereby I can lease it to you monitor you until you use it. I will control the way you use it so you don't destroy water bodies, among others. And then after you have finished paying on a lease payment, I would have handed over the machine to you. I think the Goldbod were a bit clinging to more of the ownership rather than the lease to own.
Okay, all right.
But then there is a need to put in a proper policy, a proper strategy, so that once they are implementing that, they would have tested it and go back to it and find lessons and continue to improve it.
Okay.
Other countries like Tanzania have tried that. Other countries like Peru have tried that. Some of them have been very successful, and those success stories we are happy to even provide to the Goldbod to ensure that they will also be successful.
I'm grateful to you. I'm grateful to you, Samuel Bekwin, is Executive Director of the Center for Extractives and Development Africa. This has been Top Story, brought to you always by Telecel, Connecting Energies, All Insecticide Spray and Coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. Thanks to Prince Minka for joining us as well. Newsnight is up next.
And tonight on Newsnight, more than 1,400 jobs at risk at Goldfields Diamond Mine as Minerals Commission mounts strong defense of its decision to reject mining lease extension request. Goldfields now has a Friday deadline to pack out of the mine or face legal action.
Their lease is gone. They did not declare any reserve. They did not put together any program for operation concerning the extension that they want. So this cannot be granted just like that. It cannot be business as usual going forward. Ghana deserves better.
We're here from the Mine Workers Union also tonight. Metropolitan, Municipal and District Assemblies push for full takeover of waste management as they raise concerns over Zoomlion's failure to fulfill its mandate under the Sanitation Improvement Package. Details is a crowd risk possible disease outbreak as the AMA declares all landfill sites full. Plus tonight, former Auditor General proposes a 1-week deadline for all public officials to declare their assets or risk removal from office.
The Constitution says before taking office. So if you you declare and you are assumed office, you have assumed office unconstitutionally. So what should we do to you? Move from office.
In business, we'll be hearing from the Minerals Commission on the way forward with respect to the current impasse between them and the Goldfields.
And in sports, former Black Starlets boss Laye Kinson urges local coaches to add value to themselves through education.
And later, utility prices are rising and so is the demand for greater customer service.
If it's not going to solve the problem of doom, so I don't think it's okay enough.
You'll be paying water bill, you'll be giving TDP and all that, and they should do something about it. Pressure will come more dada.
You want to increase electricity, right? Fine. How can you increase the price without giving me the better quality to enjoy?
I want to hear from you as reactions pouring from consumers to PLC's fresh round of tariff increases for both electricity and water. How will this increase affect prices of other goods and services? We'll speak to the Association of Ghana Industries. And I'll also take your views and comments here on News 9055111197. Now, Goldfields is tonight facing a race against time to pack out of its Daman mine, where the jobs of more than 1,400 workers are now in jeopardy after the Minerals Commission rejected its application to extend its mining lease. And the global mining giant has until Friday to pack out. In the last couple of hours, we're hearing from the Minerals Commission. Listen to its Deputy Chief Executive, Isaac Tando.
I mean, the application that was put in by Goldfields did not have a program of operations and did not also have a reserve. I mean, if we go back to their integrated annual report for 2024, they did not declare any reserve for the Daman mine. So, I mean, upon which basis are we extending the lease for? So the application is not complete. I mean, there is so much that needed to be made known.
But in their statement, Mr. Tando, if you could permit me, they did say that they've met all the statutory requirements for an extension. So how do we reconcile the two?
So I'm not sure. I don't know what they are talking about, because we give leases based on a program of operation, which includes your reserve that you have. And if you don't have reserve, why do we extend a mining lease for you? And you can go back to their integrated annual report, which specifically did not state any mining reserve for the Daman mine. So I'm not sure what they are talking about.
But again, what has influenced this nationalization drive?
Yeah, so we've given a lease to somebody for 30 good years. And we've even supported the person with a development agreement. The development agreement actually helps in reduction of their tax liability to the country. They also get a lot of exemptions on most of the things that is being used by the mine, like fuel. A lot of tariffs are taken off because of this development agreement. The government has actually supported this operation for the last 30 years, and the lease is gone and they want business as usual. That cannot happen. I mean, the Takwa, which is the biggest asset in the whole Goldfields portfolio, is still running. So it's neither here nor there when somebody wants to say government is going after them. No, we are applying the laws and we are making sure that whatever we do is in the interest of the nation. Take me as a salesman, and we've given a lease to somebody for 30 years. We need to get a better proposition to support, the people of Ghana. We deserve better, and that is the tangent we are going.
But at least, from what you know, per the statement released by the firm, they say they are interested in the mine. So they've indicated their plans to push for an engagement. Would that work?
Yes, so when we met with the minister, together with Goldfields, he gave them the opportunity to say, if you have any better proposition, go and sit down with Minerals Commission for them to agree that, yes, this is good for Ghana. And then we can engage further. Nothing has been brought forward. So as far as I'm concerned, their lease is gone. They did not declare any reserve. They did not put together any program for operation concerning the extension that they want. So this cannot be granted just like that. It cannot be business as usual going forward. Ghana deserves better.
So you can confirm to us that as it stands now, they've not engaged you on that?
As far as I'm concerned, no.
Do I get the impression that the door is shut on this issue about Goldfields getting the Daman mines back?
I mean, we are a listening government. We are still talking. But as I said, any decision taken on this will be in the interest of Ghana, not anybody else. We deserve better.
And as you've withdrawn the license from them, has any organization or whatsoever, the extractive mining firm, shown any interest? Any?
Not yet, not at the moment.
So that there is the Deputy Chief Executive of the Minerals Commission speaking to us a short while ago on the situation with the diamond mine and Goldfields, putting the jobs of some 1,400 workers at risk tonight. The company is currently going to a phase to try and meet that Friday deadline. They have a statement out. I'll be bringing you details of that pretty shortly. We've also been hearing from the Ghana Chamber of Mines, and they are demanding transparency in the way government is handling this particular matter. Listening to the acting head of the chamber, Ahmed Natoma.
So the whole industry was not engaged on this. Was like between Goldfields and the government. So maybe there were some discussions with Goldfields, but the other members were not aware of what was going on. So in terms of lease renewals, all those who have leases coming up for renewal are very anxious. So they will like to know what government's position is and what is the way forward, so that they can also prepare themselves for the.
Well, in all this, what kind of support or guidance is the Chamber offering Goldfields and affected stakeholders in this transition, and what recommendations does the Chamber have for ensuring stability and investor confidence in the sector going forward?
Yes, we would like our members all to continue to follow the tenets of the agreement, and also encourage government to let us have an open discussion on this. Once we can open discussion, everybody understands that this is where government is going. It helps in Ghana, this is where we are going. But when there's even though it's happened to one mine, the next mine is in line and saying, what about me? What will happen when it's my turn? So we're looking forward to further engagement with the government to see how we can discuss this in an open and transparent and fast manner. Investor out that they anticipate Ghana protected and everything along.
Well, Goldfield has a statement now, as I indicated. My colleague Papani Ashali is in the studio with me with details from the statement. In the interview that the Minerals Commission Deputy CEO gave us, he questions the application that Goldfields put in, the quality of the application, and whether it addresses the fundamental requirements that they were expecting. Goldfields has given us some clarity about when they actually put in the application.
Well, Evans, according to this statement, it tells us that as far back as December 2024, that will be almost 4 months ago, when they put in an application for the diamond main mining lease. That's what they tell us in this particular statement, that as far back as then, they have started to ask for an extension of this lease that he had.
We'll tell you a bit more about what we know about the contents of the application when they put it before the Minerals Commission, but also subsequently met the minister. But in this statement, they also said in roadmap what they are now planning to do. I meet that hard 18th April Friday deadline for them to pack out of the mine.
Well, Evan, so what we understand so far is that at least they are not just taking the response from the Minerals Commission just like that. They are engaging, and what they use is that engaging extensively relevant authorities since they received the rejection notice to confirm that the lease extension application has fulfilled all the statutory requirements for such extension. It goes on to say that the government, what they understand, has instructed those to cease operations and vacate the lease area by the 18th of April, Friday, on the expiry of this lease. Goes on finally to say that Goldfields is therefore prepared for that, and that to safely and responsibly also cease operations and ensure that the safety and security of the people and those living in the high-risk operations. The company says that they are not done, although they are preparing to leave the place by the said deadline. They are also seeking some more engagement, and this time not just with the Minerals Commission, also they're involving some more government officials to secure the best outcome for all stakeholders here. Okay. And that they will also be monitoring and will also update their workers who largely will be affected by this.
And now the workers are beginning to speak up. We'll hear from the Mine Workers Union pretty shortly. The Minerals Commission had made the point that the fundamental reason why they rejected the lease application, the mining lease application, was because the application itself did not address the fundamental issue of program of operation in it. But what we understand from those close to the conversations that have happened between government, Minerals Commission and Goldfields is that Goldfields itself, as they've confirmed in this statement they put out now globally that has been published on all international wires, is that they put in application first on December 12, 2024. And when they did that, they also to begin restart operations there in 2025. That is this year. Yes, they concede that in 2023 they stopped mining there because of the 5 years that they had projected. Everybody knew that as far as the life of mine is concerned. But they have since then been doing feasibility studies, and they have come to some form of a development arrangement that will allow them to commence operations in the diamond mine from 2025. And so they were looking forward to a renewal of the lease. This is something that they indicate that you take for granted in terms of what you do with the mine. Considering that this is a mine that they've been running for more than 2 decades, because of the plan that they had, that they believe it was good enough to go for a further 8 years, extending the life of mine for further 8 years, beginning 2025. They're looking forward to this. From all indications, those close to these conversations tell us that they're pretty surprised at the turn of events. But mainly now, the objective is trying to meet the Friday deadline safely and getting the workers out of there safely, because the Minerals Commission is very clear. If you stay there after Friday, you will be in breach of the minerals regulations and will treat you as breaching the law, and the law will come for you. So they want to respect that. They are a global entity, a mining giant indeed, and so they respect that whilst they continue with the conversations with government. I want to bring in right now Abdul Mumin, who is the General Secretary of the Ghana Mine Workers Union. Abdul, thanks for your time here on Newsnight. How are the workers responding to this kind of events?
Good evening, Evans, and good evening to our listeners. I must say that this announcement came pretty impromptu, and naturally, anybody who never anticipated this will be quite alarmed about it. Employees are currently very apprehensive, very concerning about the current developments. Obviously, from the 18th, they are not sure what the way forward is, and so on the worker side, it's a big deal for us and for the union.
Did you have any heads up at all that this was coming?
Not at all. I mean, the union did not have any heads up. Neither did workers have any heads up. But I must say that I think that the engagements towards the extension of the lease was one that was happening between Goldfields and the government. And so I believe that they were quite confident about the extension, but for the last minute decision by the government. But let me say that leases, we all know that in a lease agreement, there are usually 2 options: either a reversion or there is a renewal to extend. And so the expectation is one of the 2. And so if government thinks that the lease has expired, and for that matter, the concession should reverse government, that is one of the options under the current as far as the current issue is concerned. But there's to negotiate and have an extension of the lease. And this must be done against the backdrop of investments that Goldfields has made over the years. Lease has expired. We can just draw that lease without recourse to the concerns that Goldfields. They've made huge investments into the diamond mine, and for many years now they have been running that mine. Like Riley indicated, along the line there was a dip in production, and obviously it takes a while for them to mobilize money and put into exploration. The issues about reserves, resources, obviously there's huge potential in terms of the resource position of the diamond mine, but the reserve will require some exploration to be done so that you can convert that into reserve. But be that as it may, I believe that an opportunity for the government to engage Goldfields, at least give them some period within which they must present a convincing program of work, so that at least whatever extensions have to be done will be done. Because at the end of the day, the stakeholders involved here, whose livelihoods are currently at stake. And it's important that the state approaches this matter a bit more cautiously.
And that is a central point, is it not? I mean, from what I understand, there are 1,471 workers making up of employees and contractors. So that's the workforce. at Daman alone. What will happen now if nothing happens between now and Friday when they have to pack out? This is not the first time a mine is having to abandon its operations at a particular mine. What do you expect should happen now?
Well, as it stands now, maybe we may have to, we may have to go to the ministry and by extension the government, for our salaries and for that matter our incomes and to ensure that our livelihoods are kept alive. Beyond that, I believe that what is currently before us is a matter that can be resolved. This is not something that we must, take positions and create a lot more problems for ourselves. I mean, the investor community is watching, the investor community is listening. And as the acting CEO of the chamber said, I mean, all the other companies are watching. They are wondering, what's going to happen to me if my lease runs to an end or it expires? Can I get an extension? And this is not too good for business. It's important that at least we give some confidence to the market, get investors to appreciate the fact that, look, you can come to Ghana, you can do business without any fear of a regulator deciding whether to renew your lease or extend your lease. And it's important that the government approaches it in that light, rather than being combative or rather than being ruthless in terms of whether or not they should extend the mining lease or not.
Government explains that they are looking internal. Now, when I say government, I'm referring to the Minerals Commission. The objective now that they've rejected the lease extension, is to look internal, as in, and the deputy chief executive makes the point that Goldfields obviously is a multinational. They've done this for 30 years. They've enjoyed, he says, pegs, and that it's time now for a local entity to sort of supervise that for Ghanaians by Ghanaians. What do you make of that?
Well, as it stands now, what is the stopgap arrangement? Like you rightly asked, I mean, what happens to the plight of the workers? What happens to the current state of the mine? How is it going to be managed? Even if you have an intention of localizing or nationalizing that mine, what is your strategy? I mean, we have a history behind us. I mean, I recall in the 80s when we had the State Gold Mining Corporation, it came with its own issues here and there. I think that we need to learn our lessons properly so that whilst we go on that tangent of a possible nationalization of some of the mines, we know how we approach it so that we don't repeat the same mistakes that we repeated under the State Gold Mining Corporation. I can assure you some of the experiences within that period are not experiences that you want to see today. So government's intentions may be in the right direction, but it requires us to build a system, put in the needed structures that would ensure that the whole objective of a policy direction of culture will inure to the benefit of the country. It shouldn't just be a situation in party individuals here and there, and then they end up running down the mines and creating problems that we probably had. You
say mining individuals. Are you suspecting that that's what government is planning with the Daman mine?
Well, I mean, that is one of the options under the current circumstances. It is possible that government has an intention of giving out the mine to an individual within the government circles. The same mistakes, because you cannot just refuse the extension of a mining lease without recourse to all the other stakeholders that are linked to the mine. As we speak today, Goldfields has made the decision. What happens to the workers beyond the 18th of April? There are many contractors that are working for Goldfields who make a living from the activities that, by way of services that they offer to Goldfields. And so if these decisions are taken and they are not well thought through, what you do is that you end up creating a lot more hardship and problems for everybody who is linked to that mine. And that is why it's extremely important that, we are cautious in terms of the way we approach it. Is the reason why I've raised the point that there's still an opportunity for Goldfields to sit with the government, engage the government. If there are any new terms and conditions that should be manifested or that should be part of the new mining lease that will be extended to Goldfields, government has an opportunity to negotiate all of that, especially when there's a talk about Ghana not benefiting from its mineral resources. This is an opportunity for us to sit together, negotiate an arrangement where, the outcome is more beneficial to us.
Thank you very much. That there is Abdul Mumin, is the General Secretary of the Ghana Mine Workers Union. I want to bring in right now the Executive Director of the Center for Extractives and Development Africa, Samuel Bakwing. Samuel, what's your take on government decision to reject the mining lease application from Goldfields for its diamond mine operations?
Evans, good afternoon. Good evening. For me, the first thing I would mention is just let's put our mind back to potentially most of the arbitration that we have been to that Ghana has lost. The first question I asked is, did Goldfields satisfy all the requirements? Because if you look at the law in Section 44, renewal of mining lease, it looks like the minister may not even have the freedom to reject. Because if you look at 44.3, it says, on the application duly made under subsection 1, and if the holder has materially complied with the obligations imposed by this act with respect to the holding of an activity of the term of the lease on conditions specified in writing, that particular statement shall mean that the minister may not be able to reject without certain reasons that inures to the holder of the license having, let's say, breached the termination conditions.
Well, according to the Deputy Chief Executive of the Minerals Commission, the application lacked the program of operations and stated reserves, and that's why they took the decision to reject it.
Yes, in terms of the program of operations, it's required that they would have added that to this application. It is very important. And then if you look at even Goldfields themselves a report, obviously it looks like they may have probably not to seek for renewal. That explicitly. That's the company's own decision, because in the annual kind of report, it looks like they didn't state Daman as a potential mine that may continue. And over the years, they were processing a lot of stockpiles and not really doing a lot of new mining. But that may not be part of the termination. For me, one thing I want to say is that if the minister is rejecting this, they should follow the right procedure, because a lot of the arbitration we have, the company, if they want, they can take through that line. If we, Ghana, wants to start managing some of these things, or unless we are bringing in new investors, but if we are looking internally to get Ghanaian companies, which we know we have to put in, rather had said earlier.
And very briefly on the subject of government's new policy around ownership of mines, the Minerals Commission says this is part of a broader agenda for government to assert greater control over its mineral wealth. Is that a good policy?
We have seen it before, where we nationalize the mines, and it leads to a lot of inefficiencies and costs. For me, I said it, I think, on other station, that if you want to do this, in the interim, we may want to seek service contracts, bringing people to even manage them. That is, we will still own it 100%, but we bring companies to come who have experience to manage the mine. Because I don't think we have put in the necessary structures to manage our own mine. We could do a service contract with management, environmental management, the mining itself. Of course, most of the mines are already contracted out to service companies who does the actual mining, apart from the overall management of it, which is done by the companies. But I guess you can get service contract. But for me, let me sound the alarm again. The minister's rejection or the Minerals Commission rejection, does it follow the legislation? Is it not something that will go to arbitration and be embarrassed probably once more?
Thank you very much, Samuel Beck, Executive Director, Center for Extractives and Development Africa. If you're one of those 1,400 plus workers who may be affected, I want to hear from you. 055-1111-997. We heard from the General Secretary of the Mine Workers Union, who says that after Friday they may have to queue at the Mines and Natural Resources Ministry, the Lands and Natural Resources Ministry, to demand their salaries. I want to hear from you. Are you one of those affected? 055-11-11997. This is Newsnight.
Brush your teeth every day and night, up and down and all around, but the feeling bright. Brush your teeth, brush with mom and dad, underneath and in between, brush the germs away.
Pepsodent, cavity protection.
For 10 times stronger teeth.
This advert is FDA approved.
Couldn't sleep at night. Mosquitoes will be whining in my ears, bugging me all night long. Till I got a remedy. Now I'll be spraying them away with holy insecticide spray. Me I go spray them away with holy insecticide spray. When I sleep, me dana mada with holy insecticide spray.
Holy mosquito coil, holy multi-purpose insecticide spray. Ghana Kron Kron. For bulk purchase, call 0302 681582. This advert is FDA approved.
Auntie T, I beg, fix me go betete Ghana. No gari, no oil, no plantain, just beans then eggs.
Hey, brah, that be dangerous combination, no?
Problem no day. I feel handle am.
For Telecel, with the Bob say everybody gets what they like. That be why Made For Me bundles day. Based on your usage, you fit get your own data and call packages. Fala! Made For Me bundles like the way you the want town. That *530#, then buy Made For Me bundles today.
Telecel, connecting energies.
Do you know that NIT is back in Ghana? Yes, you heard it right. NIT is back in Ghana, and Jackson Institute of Technology is the official partner. It's bigger, it's better, and it's here to revolutionize IT education in Ghana. Get ready for world-class training and unmatched opportunities powered by Jackson Institute of Technology. Jackson Institute of Technology is shaping futures with hands-on IT training for youth, students, and professionals. Courses include cybersecurity, Python programming, data analytics, networking and hardware essentials, and Microsoft Office suite. We offer flexible schedules, affordable payment plans, and expert trainers with globally recognized certifications. Scholarships are available for women and girls. Sign up early to grab yours. You can locate us in Accra at Abna Atia Towers, Ring Road Central, or you can call us to enroll on 059-699-6037 or 059-699-6042. Take the first step towards your dream career with Jackson Institute of Technology, where your tech future begins.
It's a live your news night. George Jaffe is here with business. Hello, George.
Well, Evans here. Hello. And coming up, the government reject accusations of high-handedness over rejection of Goldfield's request to extend lease for its diamond mines. And Chief Executive of Gold, Edward Barr, reveals plans to enter into the electronic vehicle market. We'll be getting you more details on that one. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one stop shop for all your office essentials, Sinter's tanks and Pepsodent, Herbal and Charcoal. And let's now settle for the details. We'll be hearing from government is rejecting accusations of high-handedness over how it has handled its situation when it comes to the Goldfields and demand issues. We'll be getting you more details on that one, where government is actually rejecting accusations of high-handedness over how it has handled a decision to reject Goldfield's request of extension of its diamond mines. Now, this follows criticisms over how the country has handled the whole mining lease with Goldfields. Let's hear from Eric Tando. He's the Deputy Chief Executive of the Minerals Commission.
The Takwa, which is the biggest asset in the whole Goldfields portfolio, is still running. So it's neither here nor there when somebody wants to say government is going after them. No. We are applying the laws. and we are making sure that whatever we do is in the interest of the nation. Take me as a salesman, and we've given a lease to somebody for 30 years. We need to get a better proposition to support, the people of Ghana. We deserve better, and that is the tangent we are going.
Of course, that is the acting Deputy Chief Executive of the Minerals Commission. Let's still stay on that sector because that is the Chamber of Mines also expressed disappointment over how government has handled the issues. It maintained that it will be moving soon to engage government over its plan to nationalize some mining firms in the country. Now, this was after government declined request by Goldfields to extend the mining lease of the Dama mines. The Chamber again noted that they are surprised about this action by government. Ahmed Tongman is the acting chief executive of the Ghana Chamber of Mines.
All these things need to be discussed. If government wants to do something in the industry, it's good that they inform the industry players ahead of time. They can discuss and also hear their views. But the suddenness of it is what is creating the anxiety. Nationalization of mines hasn't worked well for anybody. We used to have the state gold mine, which was run by Ghanaians, didn't work out as foreign, and it's going quite far. So once they get a bigger share of what foreign investment, it's all part of the space that look at the space and see the conflict and working together with us. We have to help Ghana part of the industry if they want. So, but at the moment, it's taking a work right, and that's where it comes from.
Ahmed Tongman is the acting chief executive of the Ghana Chamber of Mines. The acting group chief executive and managing director of oil marketing firm Edward Bauer has revealed plans to make significant move into the electronic vehicle market. Now, speaking at the Invest in Africa Energy's Ghana event, Mr. Bauer emphasized Gold's recognition of the growing importance of the electronic vehicle industry and expressed the company's readiness to explore the vast opportunity that the sector presents.
If we were to go to the database of the EVME, that's the body that licenses vehicles in this country, you will realize that the number of electric vehicles in this country are now increasing at a very good rate. And therefore, GOEL must stand ready to tap into this market. Already we have the network. All we need to do is to get the right partner to provide charging stations in these areas and feeds into the government's policy of green transition.
Edward Bauer is the acting chief executive of GOEL Ghana PLC. Now, the Minister of Finance, Dr. Kesel Atuforsen, has been elected chairman of the Board of Governors of the ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development. The announcement was made during the 23rd annual general meeting of the Board of Governors meeting held in Banjul, Gambia. Now, though Dr. Forson could not attend the meeting in person, his message of appreciation and vision was delivered by the Deputy Minister of Finance, Thomas Nyako Ampem.
We are able to
large corporates as well as small and medium-sized businesses are expected to experience improved financial advisory services following the launch of BDO, the fifth largest global accounting firm in Ghana. The launch follows the successful admission of SCG chartered accountants into the BDO Group network. Speaking to Joy Business at the official outdooring, senior tax partner Edward Boateng explained the move is to offer in-depth experience across the world to the Ghanaian market.
We are able to draw on the competencies and resources of the network, knowledge, procedures and processes, which are all aimed, like you heard, to improve and keep quality, because quality is fundamental. If you provide all this service, regulators are becoming more rigorous and quality is the best one. So one of the things that we do by joining BDO to have access to a number of processes and procedures that will continue to help us improve our quality of service across the lines, audit, tax, advisory, etc. And what you do when you join a network is you leverage and benefit from those processes, knowledge that you can draw worldwide. So even as we are in Ghana, if we get a job that we are unable to do, we can always draw on the worldwide network of people. Like you heard, BDO is in close to 166 countries and jurisdictions. So we have a whole head of organization that we can draw resources, competencies and expertise from.
And that is Senior Tax Partner Edward Boatin speaking at the successful admission of SCG Chartered Accountants into the global BDO global network. And that's all for business on Newsnight. Back to you, Evans.
Thank you very much, George.
Yes, Kosciani Meko.
Mami Mianuai.
Red pepper or green pepper?
Oh, green.
Pack or no pack?
Oh, no pack. Abi, you take Momo.
Hey, now that you are not paying e-levy charges, dear.
Abi, you know. You debate your sachet water crap. Now, there is no e-levy charge when you send Momo. Download and use my Momo app now.
MTN. M&C Group is a leading investment holding company with expertise in minerals and food commodity trading, precious minerals refinery, real estate development, and logistics and energy with individually registered companies. Our headquarters is located in Accra, Ghana, with operational offices in Dubai, UAE, Hong Kong, and Guangzhou in China, Johannesburg in South Africa, Virginia in the USA, and Milan, Italy. We connect business markets and drive growth. Trust us to maximize value in every deal. Call us on 0302 551 917 or 0302 551 918 or send us an email mncgroup@mncgroupgh.com. MNC Group, totally reliant.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kindle Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHS, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302 764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website www.kingdomgh.com.
Brush your teeth every day and night. Up and down and all around. Brush the feeling bright. Brush your teeth. Brush with mom and dad. Underneath and in between. Brush the germs away.
Pepsodent, cavity protection. This advert is FDA approved.
Hey, DNA Ramsa. And stay soft concentrate fabric softener. I was such it move. Just send it this way. You might now watch it. New Yanets now watch it. No, be a baby, someone some demoni in us. DNA Ramsa. Fair quiet, yes, in Beer Association Ontario. Use stay soft and New Yanets now watch it. Nanny boss to tap from cry. A fabric softener. And yen yes, sir. Choose to stay soft. No, so say no. FDID a dreading crowd to yatu.
Have your Newsnight on Joy 99.7 FM. A few of your messages on our WhatsApp console now. And this one from Musa Abato says the government is right not to renew the Daman gold mine lease. Steps must be taken, however, to reduce the impact on workers and community through job support and transition plans. Ni in Dakuman says Goldfields has taken enough from the ground and from Ghana. It's time for Ghanaians to own their wealth. Government, we are for your decision. We're truly resetting Ghana, he says. And Abochi Philip says, in fact, the Boko crisis is becoming too much. I urge opinion leaders, they should put the differences aside. And then you also have this one from Nane Kwama, who says, why is the NDC government bent on destroying Goldfields company? What do they know, which we do not know, to the extent that they are now renew the lease for the Daman mine. A few of your messages there on the stories we've looked at. Let's do sports now, and Cranting is here with the latest.
Let's go straight into the stories, Evans. And Inter allies have publicly admitted for the first time that their players were complicit in the match-fixing scandal that rocked the 2020-21 Ghana Premier League season. The club, together with Ashanti Gold, were demoted from the Ghana Premier League after being found guilty for the infamous match-fixing scandal. Speaking to Joy Sports, Inter Allies Technical Director Willie Kluche confirmed the involvement of the players, describing their internal findings as disappointing.
I was disappointed in that group of players that they will use their future in gambling. The playing body went to gambling with their match.
Did you believe that the players were involved in some match fixing?
It's the players who told us.
That they were involved
this
in
one,
match fixing.
yes, this one bet, including with our team manager. So we have to sack the whole team. At the end of the day, I went to the disciplinary committee meeting.
So the FA was not wrong in demoting Inter Allies, were they?
We were not the cost. It's the players.
You heard Inter Allies Technical Director Willie Kluche speaking there. Moving on, former Black Starlets boss Lai Kinson has urged local coaches to add value to themselves through education. According to him, the foreign-based players tend to pay more attention to foreign coaches because of their superior knowledge of the game.
It shouldn't be what he has on paper. It should be the way. This is what I've noticed with our local coaches. The way they behave around the foreign players when they come down, the way they communicate with them, even their work, the way they work, no player will believe you because will trust you because they level. So listen to you well. They will listen to foreign coaches. They leave the local coaches. So it all comes to most of the local coaches have to make sure they educate themselves well so that when the foreign players comes down, when they see your work, your coaching points, the information you passing it on, with them they understand, oh wow, you know what you are doing. Then they will listen to you.
You heard former Black Stars midfielder Lai Kinson speaking there, bringing that into sports. Back to you, Evans.
Thank you very much. Still live, your news night is on Joy 99.7 FM. Tonight, Metropolitan, Municipal and District Assemblies are making a strong case for government to allow them to take full charge in managing their waste. Currently, the Sanitation Improvement Package contract signed between government and the assemblies through the under the previous administration has ceded waste management to the assemblies to manage waste, but also under Zoom Lion. But during the working visit of Parliament's Committee on Sanitation and Water Resources, the Assembly say Zoom Lion has failed to deliver on the terms of the contract, especially lifting of waste containers over the period. Listen to the Director for Waste Management at the Crown Metropolitan Assembly, Engineer Solomon Noy.
Yes, that should have been the case. We should have sat through the agreement if there were any reviews, and if we also have some observations, we'll give it. But then what happens is the other way around. They bring the agreement. Sometimes, most cases, they will get the chief executive and meet at that end. When it's time for the quality directors and then the waste management heads, then we see a lot of loopholes. By that time, the agreement had been signed. And in this particular case, that's what happened at the RCC. When we had met them, we had even signed. In fact, here, we even delayed because I had to listen to the concerns of my waste management director, who indicated that we should look for certain things in the agreement. For example, the schedule. How many equipments are the waste management operator bringing? I mean, the auditors have been asking. But this time, there was no mention of it. So we raised that. In fact, at that meeting, it became obvious that they should have met us before the signing would have been done. But I only had the option of just signing, because after I was told I'm just a witness. And so whether I sign or not, the agreement is being signed. So that's what unfortunately happens.
Then we see the container supplied by Zoom Lion 8 instead of 15 if we are to go by the current SIP contract. Next slide, please. So this is just a snapshot of what you see if you should go to these sites. As at this morning, Kolebu bus stop. This is how the situation, the container is there, and this is how the site is clean. But those you see there are just remnants of whatever was left. Next slide.
Well, James Aveji was with the Parliamentary Select Committee, joins me in the studio right now. So the assemblies, they want to control waste management themselves. But how exactly are they planning to do this?
Well, Evans, according to them, this contract actually been executed by the Zoomlion company, who oversees the work, taking the assembly, who are supposed to make sure the communities are clean, taking the work from them, and so they are unable to answer for why some of these waste containers are not lifted and the streets not swept. And so they want government to sort of revoke the contract and give it to the assembly directly to implement this, so they can be able to answer questions directly on this.
But there's a bigger problem with landfill sites. What's happening with landfill sites, particularly within the AMA?
So the AMA is telling us that all the landfill sites in Accra are currently full, and so they would have to travel all the way to the eastern region, Sawam, to go and dump refuse there. Then I put a question: if this is the case, do we have a disease outbreak on our hands? This is the response from the director we heard from earlier.
But it is not far, because it is not an engineered landfill site. There is no leachate control. So for instance, if it rains, the leachate from that dam site finds its way into depressions and rivers, and they come back to us in the city. The site is not close to scavengers. You see a lot of scavengers there, not scavengers, but waste pickers, sorry. They don't like using the word scavengers. They are waste pickers from Niger, Burkina Faso, all over our neighboring countries, scavenging and picking recyclables. All the hospital and healthcare waste find its way there, and they mingle with it, and they come to town with us. And so you can understand how come we have a cyclical, perennial, cholera, typhoid. If we have to manage, if you ask me, the way to go for government is to get an intermediate treatment facility, such as a state-of-the-art waste incineration plant.
What about the committee itself?
Well, the committee chairman, John Otibles, believes that they would have to have an engagement with the waste management service provider to see the clear way forward. Even if it comes that they would have to recommend that the contract be put on hold while they review it and take a final decision on this.
Has clauses, and there are implications in suspending or cancelling government contract. So the only thing is that we'll hammer in the points, draw government's attention, meet the service provider. As a committee, we're going to invite the service provider. We'll meet with him and caution and make it clear to him that he should put his feet down and begin to change his ways. So we believe that things will change from now on. Once we are on the ground with you guys, we'll make a lot of impact. Yes.
So recommendation for suspension, you will not consider until you meet and hear from the service provider.
Exactly, but I don't think the suspension is the way to go. He's a Ghanaian. Everybody will all have our shortfalls, because one of his complaints is that he's not being paid for several months and he has not been paid. So if you give someone a contract and you don't pay, me as I sit here, I'm a businessman myself. I do government projects. If you are working for government and you are not paid, what are you going to depend on? You understand? So sometimes we have to give him the benefit of the doubt. The only thing is to engage him and discuss the issue with him, find a way forward. And I believe a solution will be arrived at.
It's a live your news night on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, tragedy struck the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi, on March 21st when a devastating fire ravaged the Adum PZ market, leaving more than 2,000 traders reeling from the loss of their livelihoods. 3 weeks after the misfortune, the traders returned to their trading spaces, but the conditions that led to the fire persist, setting the stage for another catastrophe. In the first edition of Joy News' feature, Breaking the Fire Cycle, Nana Boachi Yadom visited the market and filed this report.
Things are burning. People who have shops here, including the youth, are losing their money. It was like any other Friday dawn at the Adum PZ market in Kumasi until a sudden alarming sight turned the commercial area into a scene of chaos. The fire started at 4 a.m. with an explosion from the top floor of a story building. Within minutes, the flames spread rapidly across the market, consuming shops and goods in its path. I have lost millions of cedis from this fire this morning. This is very worrying. We are losing everything. We need the fire service to come to our aid right now. Everything is burning. Everything is burning. The arrival of firefighters was a moment of hope for those witnessing the blazing fire, but the situation quickly turned grim. Access of the fire tender to clustered container shops was severely restricted due to the market's cramped layout. Without proper paths for the fire trucks to reach the epicenter of the blaze, the fire quickly spread unchecked.
Fire service
With investigations ongoing, the traders pieced together the potential causes of the blaze, and among the primary suspects are the use of gas cylinders, faulty electrical appliances, and the intermittent power cuts.
So you guys not also some people they have collected so many loans. Please, why is it that the fire service you cannot just off the fire for us?
The billowing smoke and the crackling sounds of burning structures could be seen. President John Mahama and local authorities visited the scene, worried about the outbreak.
Yejina hey ultimatum tese explosion be cause wo ho na ya gas cylinder se wate ba kon na ya gas cylinder se explode.
We have to carefully look at our market structure. The sounds you hear are explosions of gas cylinders. We shouldn't be cooking at the markets.
So gas cooker ne sa nyoma ni na e ka ho e na sa nyoma esi.
The Ashanti Regional Commander of the Fire Service, ACFO2 Peter Tete, bemoaned the lack of equipment by fire service to curb fire. He indicated that over 417 fires have occurred in the first quarter of 2025.
Available data shows that the command has recorded 417 fires in the first quarter of 2025, as against 444 in the year 2024 within the same period.
3 weeks after the fire, many of the affected vendors have returned to the marketplace, hoping to restart their lives. At the moment, we have gone to make sales because we need money to feed our children. However, checks indicates that the central business district of Edum PZ remains the same, overcrowded, poorly ventilated, and lacking any significant changes to prevent another fire. In an already cramped market, these conditions form a ticking time bomb, one that many say is waiting to explode again. The Edum PZ is indeed a wake-up call. The tragic event not only exposed the hazardous conditions of the market, but also highlighted the glaring gaps in fire prevention infrastructure and safety protocols. While traders, government officials, and experts call for swift action, the reality is that these issues have persisted for years. The hope is that this tragedy will finally prompt the necessary changes to safeguard lives and businesses in Kumasi and other markets across the country.
For Joy News, my name is Nana Bwachidan Kwayado, Kumasi.